It's got gators in it.
Oh, yeah? Well, me and the Lord, we got an understanding. We're on a mission from God.
They shouldn't have given you ashy blokes YouTube.
Cursed be the ground for our sake. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for us. For out of the ground we were taken, for the dust we are. And to the dust we shall return.
I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
All right. All right. In the house with my Dusty Jermaines, my Ashy Jeffries, and my Dirty Foot Jose's. Okay. Back in the building, punching the clock. Okay. It's an extension of some of the stuff we've been going over, and it's getting critical. So, having to be perusing the webs, and I found this from Pearl. So, all you Pearl haters, okay, y'all gonna love this. Y'all gonna love this because what she's saying is spot on. Okay. What she's trying to complain about is spot on because I think she has inside knowledge because I think they wanted her to be the shepherd to lead men back into the plantation, but I guess it didn't work out. But before we get to that, we guys gonna welcome some people. Saint Triangles batting first. Okay. Uh-oh, look who's batting second. Batting second. Move the runner along, Instant Media. Shannon Green batting third. And Mel cleaning up the bases, okay? Let's have that four banger, that walk off, okay? Shannon Moore, what's going on? Luther, what's going on? Barry Little, what's going on? Yeah, they certainly are trying, but they will fail in the end. Well, the environment doesn't hold to it. Dre, what's going on? Little Maple Leaf. Yeah, Tradcons was the liberal left is doing the same thing. Jesse, what's going on? No fear, what's going on? There's Toya with my apple. Eddie, what's going on? Nelly, Eddie, it is 78 degrees here. Paul, what's happening? Gundam, Adric, Chance, Naima, what's happening? Malik, what's going on? Little Maple Leaf. Oh, you got a 709 on your test. It needed us. Oh, come on, man. 720. All right, come on, man. Come on. I know you got to keep grinding. Waiting on well, you should ace the test next time. Waiting on the reformer. Palm Beach, what's going on? Ahmed, what's going on? Hurricane Jai. Malik, what's happening? The Black Toxic. Michael, what's going on? Oak Ridge. Shannon Green, what's going on? DJ B-Side. Kelvin. Pimp Guy, what up, bro? Hold up, bro. Hold on to that silver, man. Segundum, what's going on? Moonlight Right, what's going on? Snowman, what's up? Yeah, well, I told you Seattle probably was probably their year, and it was, man. It wasn't even close. Hey, what's going on? Oh, no problem, Dr. Goodbar. H&F, what's going on? Chaz, what's happening? What else we got? Xander with a Z, what's going on? TSW speaks. What's going on? Who else we got? That's it. All right. Okay, got 152 watching. Y'all hit the like button on your way in, Chaz. All right. This is this obviously is going to be Pearl. Okay, so all you haters out there, y'all just have to with it. So all you got to do is you got to suck it up for today. Okay. If you're a hater, lover or hater, doesn't matter. Okay. I play a lot of people I don't like. Play a lot of people I don't like, so it doesn't matter. And Pearl, yeah, Pearl is like, I don't know. I don't feel one way or the other about Pearl. Okay. If she says something that's valuable, I'll put it up. If she says something negative, I'll put it up because at the end of the day, Pearl is white. Okay. I used to tell my mother that because she had white friends, and sometimes she would get upset. I said, "Ma, they're white." But they said this other third. Ma, they're white. Okay. Pearl is a white girl. Okay. At the end of the day, I don't care how many black guys she sleeps with, she's still white. Okay. So this is her. Conservatives do not want men leaving the plantation. And that's just half of the truth because guess what? Galloway and Chetty and Reeves are on the left. And guess what they don't want men doing? Leaving the plantation. Okay? Snuggles says drop the link. What's up, Snuggles? Where you been? He said, I say drop the beat, and Snuggles says drop the link. But Pearl, you have to take her with a grain of salt. Okay, you have to take her on a case by case basis. And for society, and she's going to point, they're going to point this out for society to stay together. They're going to have to form families and family units and extended families to keep society together, running the way it's been running. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart, which is true. But I don't think it's just the men that I think it's a monster utopia. I think it's not just the men. I think it's the women too. But the thing is, they can't talk to the women. Women don't comprehend the same. Okay. Women comprehend feelings. They don't comprehend thoughts and actions and logic. Okay. So you can't talk to them. You have to talk to who? Men. If you can't get men to listen to you, then women, it's a lost case because women won't unless the environment changes, which it already is changing. $315 for 17 reps, not too bad. Okay. That's well above average.
Now, what you have high status men and low status men. Now, I would say high status men are all the influencers and commentators. They get to, mingle with world leaders. They have a lot of influence. They have a good amount of power. On top of that, business owners, men that make over a certain amount a year, I would say would be high status men. High earning, high status. But they do not think about the average man and how the average man is affected by marriage. So in my experience, I've interviewed people for our divorce documentary. I tried it the first time around. I tried to make my divorce documentary and these crazy people stopped it. I got deplatformed, all this stuff. So I had to redo it. But when I was making it the first time, I was getting all this footage, right? And I was interviewing people. And I found that the people that got it the worst were not the rich men in family court. Because a lot of times
Well, the thing is, women. The thing is about women trying to get women to change so that the men will accept them is very difficult. Okay, we don't know what black women, for whatever reason, they listen to their vaginas and not to you. So trying to get them to change once they're going in a certain direction is very difficult. It's easier to change the reason with the men and get the men to change. What's up, Art?
the rich men, I mean, they can afford a lawyer. They can afford to fight. Although some maybe got unlucky and got a terrible judge. The guys that got it the worst were men that were in the middle class. They can't afford to pay lawyers. They can't afford to fight for their kids. And so a lot of high status men, the only reason Matt Walsh can do what he does is because of the average men, right? The average men work in the factory that's building his microphone. The average men do the construction on the road so he gets to work. The average men do the plumbing in his building. It's not the men. He would not be able to do his job without the men that allow him to be there.
True.
But he still is telling average men to make decisions as a high status man. Sometimes marriage makes sense for men in high status positions. You know, sometimes it can be done. You know, in all of history, we've had dowries. And so
if they can't convince the average man, which makes up 90% of the men, to come together and form families, society is doomed. We're well past the tipping point of society going left, or should say going off the tracks. Well past that tipping point. If they can't get the men and the women to come back together and actually start working together anymore, basically, you're going to have a dead society pretty soon. You look at China's at 0.93. Okay, they've been paying money to get men and women together. Okay, and the black community, which was the benchmark, because black community averaged like 3 or 4 births per woman for a long time. Now they're down to below white women, which is like 0.37. Okay, they're headed the same direction that China and Korea is heading.
marriage was done to accrue resources. You know, you married a rich bitch and then you got her daddy's money. Sometimes it's genetics, right? But average men, the issue with Matt Walsh is it doesn't matter how bad the chessboard is. He keeps telling average men, keep sacrificing for me and my kids.
And basically, who else says that? Okay, it ain't just Matt Walsh. It ain't just him being white. How long have black men and so-called pro-blacks been saying that to us? How long? It's not just us. Okay, we are the canaries in the coal mine. We are the canaries in the coal mine. In fact, that was a video. I might do that one tomorrow. With this guy's talking about all the programs that they have for women, not black women, but for women. White men are becoming black men. What Tommy Curry was saying, we're all black men now. This whole society is turning into one big mash of used to be black men. Okay, man-nots, as they say. Of course, there's no logical reason, and that's how come the state has to do something. Yeah.
I have a wife.
And in fact, that's what Pearl was trying to tell Anna Kasparian. Anna Kasparian was actually vouching for marriage. She really was.
I have a family. But average men, most of them aren't going to get it. I would say half of men are not going to be able to reproduce. So he's saying sacrifice for society because it benefits my children. All right, so.
Today, the Matt Walsh Show, a sex scandal among conservative influencers perfectly illustrates why many young men are reluctant to get married and have children, but they still should, even in spite of the risks, and I'll make that argument today. Also, tragedy strikes the nation as the Washington Post lays off hundreds of useless journalists. Bill Gates tries to explain his appearance in the Epstein files, and a woke school board member brings a school board meeting to a halt so that she can lecture someone for using the term homeless. Apparently, unhoused is the preferred term.
Unhoused. Oh my goodness. Psychological safety. And it's one thing about listening to these AI stories, man. You get acquainted with all the buzzwords. Okay, so psychological safety. So instead of using homeless, using unhoused. When is that based or biased in being a young boy? Which word are you using?
Nobody can explain why. All of that and more today on Matt Walsh Show.
Now, mind you, when you go down, look at these comments. So let me keep going, and then we can talk about it later. Okay.
You have to take Pearl with a grain of salt. Sometimes Pearl is she's saying it from the heart, and sometimes Pearl is grifting. You don't know.
All right, let me go past a little further.
Then the Elijah Schaffer scandal surfaced, revealing that Schaffer, a conservative commentator who is married and has children, was apparently having an affair with Sarah Stock, who's a conservative commentator, and who at the time was dating the man that she would eventually marry. This has been interesting timing because it's a story that perfectly illustrates the counter argument. The reason why
sometimes Pearl is too clueless to know to actually take a political stand. Okay, that's one thing about it. Sometimes I don't know Pearl. I think Pearl doesn't really have a filter, so that works in our favor sometimes. We have the canary in the coal mine. They don't worry about themselves until they see people dropping long after they heard the canary sing. Yep. Tradcons got their lottery ticket life and want regular men to pretend to. Tradcons are having the same problems we're having. Okay. Tradcons are lying.
Many young people are so reluctant to get married and have children in the first place. Now, as to the specifics of the scandal, I'll go into a few of the details in a moment, not because this is a drama channel, but because it's the kind of thing we must contend with if we want to make the case for marriage and family life. Now, if I were to try to do a monologue right now on
by the way, the challenge with using your relationship to build your brand, it's just never a good idea. It is not a good idea. Because who are they going to attack first? Like, let's say you got an enemy as a guy. He's going to hit on your wife. Now he knows where to find her. You know, like, I'm like, what are you doing? You guys are dumb.
That topic, all the comments would be, well, what about this? You see this scandal over here? This is exactly why we don't want to get married. So let's just, let's lean into that, as much as I hate that phrase. I think that those of us on the pro-family side, oftentimes, it's true to say, haven't done a good enough job of acknowledging and accounting for the enormous risks and downside to marriage that young people are confronting at increasing rates, no matter how hard they try to find a compatible, moral, Christian spouse. This is the catch-22. Our culture is decaying. In order to stop the decay, we need people to form stable and loving.
So he's saying, stop the decay of our culture. Now, again, he's not looking out for you. He's looking out for himself because he doesn't want to live in this culture. Right?
Families, but it's harder to form stable, loving families while the culture is decaying. Now, people in the red pill and so-called manosphere spaces have been making this point for a long time and have taken a lot of heat for it. I've had plenty of arguments with
and now they're admitting what the red pill and the manosphere is saying is accurate, which is probably why do you think I played Andrew Tate last week? Okay, I said they're pulling Andrew Tate out of mothballs is because what they're saying is not working. So what Walsh, got to remember, Walsh and Pearl come from the same farm. Okay. Okay. They all know each other. They all work together. In fact, they're all in the same milieu. Now Pearl veered off, which is why they attacked her. And Candace Owens also came from the same group. Okay. The Ben Shapiro group. They all come from that same group. So Pearl is red pill adjacent, but thing is she was hired by a Tradcon group, a right-wing group. So Pearl is not a left-winger. Pearl has never been a left-winger. Her mother works for the UN. Pearl's never been a left-winger. Pearl comes from a Tradcon family. And now she might be a rebel. She might be an outlier. She might be a little left of where they are, but don't get it twisted, okay? Pearl was put in that position to mimic red pill and to guide red pill men to the center instead of to the where. In fact, I don't know where red pill men are. Okay, I don't know if they're to the left or the right. I don't think they're part of the group at all. But they're trying to bring the They're trying to, the left and the right are trying to bring the manosphere back to the middle.
People on that side about this. Entire shows on Netflix have been written about how awful their opinions are and how they've created this manosphere that traffics in dangerous misogyny and so on. But, you know, the truth is, when the writer's room at Netflix is so enraged about your views that they start putting you in their shows,
yes,
then it means that you're on to something.
And in other words, you got their attention. Yeah. You have their attention. That's what I've been saying. Okay. When Anna Kasparian, people thought, well, Anna Kasparian trampled all over Pearl and humbled her and all that kind of stuff. Just by you bringing her up in debate, you've already moved the needle toward the manosphere. Just by putting her in the conversation, okay? When I first got here, the manosphere struggled to be in the conversation. I was just talking to the Dr. T the other day, okay? We never anticipated being in the conversation. Never thought about that, right? We're just trying to be heard. On the fringes, okay? We're smack dab in the middle of the conversation. In fact, we got somebody like Walsh agreeing with us, okay? Stick a fork in it, folks. America's already dead. We're just witnessing the slow-moving train wreck that will be eventually. I don't think you're going to see a nuclear release that ends in Pearl is just a fraud, cheats. She's an avatar. You know, the thing is she useful to us? Just Donuts is right. If they want men to come back to side, they're going to have to give men good. Yeah, they are. The thing is how much. It's not whether they're going to have to give you something. It's how much. They're already starting to give you stuff. Okay. Trump is already starting to take things away from white women and women. And in fact, I got to do a show tomorrow about black women losing their jobs. Okay. Which I have never done a show on black women losing their jobs ever. I've never done a show on that. And for the first time in 20 years, we're doing a show on black women losing their jobs. It's always been black men losing their jobs. Now it's black women. So the tables have turned, okay, out of necessity. Anyway, continuing.
Now, let's talk about this issue from the perspective of a young man. And to anyone who accuses me of only blaming the woman in this story, keep in mind that we talked about this yesterday, and I spent.
Yeah, because Elijah's goaded a little bit for banging all these e-girls. Like, if you look at Elijah's alleged roster, okay.
Oh, really?
Now, I don't know if these are true or untrue, but I'm just saying this is alleged. And the fact that this is alleged is pretty goated, okay? Sorry, Emily, you're on the list. True or untrue, I don't know, but I'm not really going to believe you. She's pretty hot, okay? Young Emily, like, she's pretty hot. Pretty hot, okay? Then we got Sarah Stock. Pretty hot.
Yeah.
Savannah Hernandez, I think, was the other one. Pretty hot.
Yeah, she's cute.
All right. Especially young.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that these women are not hot. Like, that's a little bit impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might say, yeah, they're mid. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're in conservative media, but how many of you got like?
They're not mid. Those are not mid women. Okay. Now we can't tell with the makeup on, but they don't look mid to me.
5 mids on your roster. Elijah Schaefer. It's alleged, right? Sarah Stock, that came out. He did in fact do that, but these are alleged, and there's so many more just like him.
20 minutes discussing why Schaefer was wrong to cheat on his wife and how married men should behave so that they don't commit those sins. So we've talked about that. Today we're going to flip it around and focus on the other side, because here's what the story demonstrates. It's not always enough to say that you should date a woman who goes to church, who says that she opposes abortion, who says that she's never slept with anyone outside of marriage, spends every day talking about conservative principles for a living, and who will, in her case, literally stand by your side in front of the Pope as he blesses both of you. Now, a woman can do all those things and convince you that she means every word of what she's saying, that she'll be a fantastic mother to your children, and then you find out one day that, in fact, she was lying to you the whole time. She was actually having an affair with her boss behind your back. She was grinning as the Pope blessed your relationship while she was thinking about her other boyfriend. And here's the thing. If you don't learn the truth soon enough, then she could, not too far in the future, walk away with half of your assets, including your house, along with alimony for life.
He just made the case. All right, don't get married now.
This is not some fantastical hypothetical scenario. It's what apparently happened to the man who was engaged to.
And Negroes get shot every day, B. He be all right.
Sarah Stock.
And look, they're going to make the case, and nobody is thinking about the guy who is engaged to Sarah Stock. Everyone's thinking about Sarah and Elijah. But the real victim is the guy that married the broad.
Perhaps briefly, went by the name Sarah Setka. Sarah's a relative newcomer in the whole trad woman conservative influencer space, and she put out posts like this one when she got engaged. This is from August of 2025. She writes, I won.
That's incredible. I want to double check. All these people, Matt Walsh, Ring e-girls. I like how look at this. He covered this story before. And none of them, I was the only person that said, hey, this is a red flag that she's posting her ring on the internet.
Uh-huh.
All of the conservatives covered this story. There's never any humility when I'm proven right. Ever. Never any humility. They all, all right, whatever.
Along with a picture of her engagement ring. And as you can see there, Charlie Kirk, who was actually an honest and wholesome person, responded, congrats, marriage is amazing. Lots of people responded that way. Makes sense to respond. Someone got engaged. It's a happy thing. You say congratulations. Then there's this post from Sarah Stock, which she wrote in November of 2024. Quote, the idea that women are waiting until marriage, who are waiting until marriage are doing it to manipulate men into marrying them so they can leave and take all their money is kind of schizo, in my opinion. And you probably have a 0.01% chance of that happening.
Oh.
Anyone who's going to be a forever bachelor and never procreate because they're not willing to take that risk, especially with a woman they love and trust, is NGMI, not going to make it. Waiting until marriage also has statistically better results for the marriage. And 6 months later, in April 2025, Stock announced that she had converted to Catholicism. Stock wrote, quote, I'm officially Catholic. And then she wrote, Ave Christus Rex, meaning Hail Christ the King. And then
here's the thing. Had they not made a big spectacle of their religion, that's why people are pissed.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to make a big spectacle of your relationship and your religion. You didn't have to do that. Nobody put a gun to your head. It's just incredible.
her photo with her husband receiving the Pope's blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh. Was Elijah at the wedding? That's my question. Bruh. There's never any humilities. Nobody's apologized to me.
Now, I'm not prepared to say, as many have, that her conversion was a scam and she never meant anything she said. It was all a big ruse. I can't see inside her soul.
Isn't that incredible? That's how cucked and simpy conservatives are. You got bamboozled and lied to, and you cannot even say that you got bamboozled.
You can't admit that you're wrong. It's like Brittany Renner converting to Islam, right? and then 6 months later, she's cussing out her baby daddy, huh?
And lied to. It's just incredible. The simping never ends. It never ends. I was like, we have Nick defending them now, really? And
hey, Mr. Reddit, Charlie Kirk, wholesome and honest. Yeah, I heard that.
I kept telling I was talking to Nick the other day. I hope he's okay with me talking about this. But I'm like, Nick, you're gonna nag us about gossiping when these people threw their fucking religion and relationship in our faces and called everybody whores.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You didn't have to do that. None of you guys had to do that. And that's what I kept trying to say. I'm like, look, we're not mad because nobody cares if she banged her boss. Water is wet. The sky is blue.
Mm-hmm.
We're mad because you guys took the money.
Yeah.
And you were never, and we're mad because a lot of men see themselves in that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
God can figure that out. It's perfectly possible for a person to profess it.
Oh, and he kept saying like big deal. And I'm like, really?
Really?
Big deal?
As a Tradcon saying big deal? Oh, really?
It was just incredible. And I was like, I kept telling him, I'm like, you're blackpilling me. I'm getting blackpilled. I'm getting blackpilled even further.
Yeah. Pearl getting blackpilled. Oh, that's a new one. Join the club, Pearl. Join the club.
But that's the thing. They sacrifice men to slaughter.
Yeah.
That's what the church does. They sacrifice him to save society and their brands. Not Nick. He's in a tough situation. I do feel for him, but I was so disappointed. I'm like, this white knighting, it just has to stop. I feel a little bad, I don't think he wants to be involved, but when I was like, I saw his tweet and it was like their faith in conversion is genuine. I'm like, You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
A certain belief and hold that belief, and yet act contrary.
He said, Will Ayers said, I can't stand listening to Tradcons like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. They talk like they're reading from a script, and they will not go outside their echo chamber and criticize Western Babylon. They cannot. They can't do it, okay? CGA been cooking Matt Walsh for years. Yeah. Well, CGA is a MGTOW, so.
To it. And we all do that to some extent because we are all sinners. And yet it's also clear that Sarah was also putting together a carefully crafted image. Before she was engaged, she appeared on a podcast in which she claimed that she would abstain from sex until marriage, in contrast to some other women on the panel who openly admitted that they were extremely promiscuous. Watch.
You're also religious, correct?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Are you waiting until marriage?
Yep.
Have you always waited till marriage?
Yeah.
Yeah, diabolical.
Ah!
Tits out, Jesus cross. Diabolical.
Lion broad.
Incredible.
You both are virgins, is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
No shame, just
Yeah.
okay,
Right
cool.
on. I said yes.
What's your body count?
8. 4. I can give like a roundabout,
Sure.
like 120.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh Lord, Lordy. Okay. Talk about nuclear waste.
4.
8. 0. 0. 0.
Whoa.
That's a lot of virgins.
Jake.
Surrounded by purity here. I feel it rubbing off on me.
She's lying.
Now, the point of showing you this, all this stuff is not to gawk at the destruction of a marriage or to gossip about lurid details, of which there are plenty in this case. We could fill a whole show full of those details if we wanted to. We won't. Instead, I'll simply say that Milo Yiannopoulos has alleged with a substantial amount of evidence that Sarah was in fact sleeping with her boss, Elijah Schaefer, who runs a small conservative media company called Rift TV, up to the moment that she became engaged to another man named Will. So in other words, the allegation is that Sarah was cheating on her boyfriend and future fiance with her boss, who was a married man at the time with children. His wife is now divorcing him, apparently.
And I don't understand why Christians don't get angry. They're using your religion for money and clout and attention. This is not about God. And, you know, you just watch this over and over and over. I mean, why do you guys think I feel this way? Nobody's a bigger trash talker than someone who got fooled. And I bought all this stuff the first half of my 20s, but I'm like, these people do not have your best interest at heart. They don't. Even the advice they give women, it's like, wait till marriage when you're not a virgin. Good luck. Good luck with that. Even if you are over a certain age, you just got to put out.
And the allegation is backed by an audio recording, which Yiannopoulos obtained, though it's not clear how. No reason to play that here. There, you can listen to that if you want to online. There are other allegations, even darker and more depraved, that have been made, and which I certainly can't substantiate. In response to all these allegations, Sarah didn't issue any kind of specific targeted denial. She didn't dispute the accuracy of the claims being made exactly. Instead, she posted the following message to her account on X. It says, quote, "A lot of what has been said about me is completely untrue. That being said, there are mistakes, unwise decisions I've made that I deeply regret. I have sinned. I apologize to everyone who has been
What a wimp. What a wimp.
Mm-hmm.
You got to eat it.
scandalized by this. Please pray. Logging off now." Sure.
We have, how many black women have we heard say the exact same thing? The exact same thing.
Afterwards, Sarah deleted her account entirely and deleted, I think, her other social media accounts as well. Now, if you follow this scandal on social media, you'll see that most people, as expected, are talking about it with a sick kind of glee and satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
But we should never find satisfaction in the sins of others.
It's anger. It's not glee. It's fucking anger. I mean, we're happy that people got exposed because they do this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They lecture all of us on how to live. Like, I was even thinking, I'm like, the fucking audacity. You are going to lecture me about gossiping, but you won't lecture your friend for cucking her husband. Go to hell. I'm like, fuck it. And I was telling him, I'm like, guys are going to leave the church because of this. Like, the smartest, most intelligent men do not stay in the church. I'm telling you, they don't.
That is true. That's true. And black men have been doing that forever, for the last 30 years.
All men that I know worth a damn over a certain age,
Yeah.
they are not religious, even if they're super moral.
Yes.
Under a certain age, but when you're a young man, you're naive, right? When they get older,
Yeah.
they leave because they've just seen it too many times. Too many men get cucked.
Yes.
And the response I get is, no, that's not happening. I'm like, look, too many men were screwed during a divorce where they just believed the woman and they get lectured by some guy doing the same stuff that they're doing. Right? It's just incredible.
I'm sure there are people that are celibate. Okay, the only person I believe that is celibate until marriage is Nick Fuentes. I don't know why, because he got no filter. Now, I believe that motherfucker is celibate. I believe he's a virgin, at least to work for women. And him, I believe. I don't know why, but I believe him. Everybody else, they're suspect. Like Matt Walsh, okay, 2 whole years and now.
Especially when there are real victims involved, spouses and children. So the point is not to gloat. I have no reason to anyway. I have nothing personally against anybody involved in this scandal. The point is that this story is not the exception. It's not happening out of nowhere. There's nothing aberrant about it. As we talked about yesterday, Elijah Schaffer's behavior is all too common among some men, and Sarah Stock is all too representative of how some women, but certainly not all, think and behave these days. These types of women, they don't see men as potential husbands.
And look, if I go to Walsh's wife, like Walsh, your wife, and her bio says her only purpose is to troll Matt Walsh. Who the fuck would want a wife that's their adversary? It's not to support you, it's to troll you. And it's because you don't have the balls to tell her to stop. So we're being lectured by a guy who really doesn't have a marriage anybody would want. And he's telling you to get married. They don't have your best.
He's being cucked, and I don't know why a white woman is gonna want to mess up the money anyway. So that's weird to me. The only other person who would do that to mess up the money is Michelle Obama. She don't give a shit. Okay.
Best interest at heart. They don't. She might be joking, but you wouldn't troll your boss every day. It's because she doesn't respect her husband. It's obvious.
Husbands to whom they will devote themselves or for whom they will be a loyal and loving helpmate. They see men as tools they can use dishonestly for a specific purpose. I consider the fact that as of the most recent data, roughly 70% of divorces are initiated by women. That's according to research from the American Sociological Association, but plenty of other sources agree on that point. In fact, the number rises to between 80 and 90% when you only look at highly educated women. Now, here's a quote from the American Sociological Association, give you an idea of how they frame the data. Quote, study author Michael Rosenfeld, an associate professor of sociology at Stanford University, found that women initiated 69% of all divorces compared to 31% of men. In contrast, there was not a statistically significant difference between the percentage of breakups initiated by unmarried women and men. Women seem to have a predominant role in initiating divorces in the U.S. as far back as there is data from a variety of sources back to the 1940s.
So what are you arguing about? So you're still saying, you're still trying to push men into this pit.
Rosenfeld said, I think that marriage as an institution has been a little bit slow to catch up with expectations for gender equality. So that's how left-wing academics present the data. They blame marriage for being a little bit slow to catch up with expectations. They don't blame men for cheating on their spouses because according to the data, that's not what's actually driving the high rates of divorces initiated by women. But they also know they can't blame women because every academic, without exception, is forced to embrace feminism as a religion. So they settle on blaming the institution of marriage itself, which ironically enough is exactly.
Here's the problem. None of you can have a traditional marriage because a traditional marriage, you have to have enforcement.
Yes.
And in 2026, the only enforcement you have is fucking another bitch. That's the only consequence you can have.
Wow, Pearl. That come out of Pearl's mouth. Wow.
You don't have a traditional marriage. You're just playing pretend. And that's what people are sick of. We are sick of the commentators lecturing us while they go home and are nagged to death by their wives. We're sick of the commentators lecturing us while they do not run their household. And it's very obvious.
Yes.
You know, Matt Walsh has been on the record saying he can't smoke in his own house. Well, why not? If you
because patriarchy is dead, okay? These are supposed to be patriarchs, right? They don't run their own house.
run it, you don't. We're sick of being lectured. Like, it's such bullshit. You guys are lying. You are lying. None of I have not seen a conservative commentator that has the demeanor that he tells his wife to shut the fuck up.
Ooh.
Why do you think people gravitate towards Andrew Tate?
Ooh.
Because we're sick of these simp ass dudes who did the same exact thing as everybody else. They got married late to a woman that wasn't a virgin, probably was ran through, and then lectures all of us. It's like, fuck you.
Pearl. The Pearl changed horses or what, man? Now she's supposed to replace Andrew Tate. Now she's on his side. I told you. They're bringing Andrew Tate back for a reason. I told you.
Yeah. To the same conclusion that many anti-feminist red pillars come to, just by a different route.
And he doesn't even know what the red pill is. And what he's pushing is going to lead men to suicide. If they take his advice, you are not going to be there on the other side. You are not going to be responsible if they end up committing suicide. If I push a product, if I push a drug that kills people, I get held responsible for pushing it. I could get sued, but he cannot be held responsible for pushing marriage, even with the absurd, the absurd family court we have today.
And yet, if you ask women, they'll tell you exactly why they're getting divorced. If you take a look at the data, what it tells you is that the primary reasons that women give for divorcing their husbands include that they feel they aren't getting enough attention, their husband is holding back their career, that they, quote, grew apart. In other words, the woman got bored. And like Sarah Stock, apparently, they wanted to try something new. And they convinced themselves that there's nothing wrong with, giving another man a try. And there's nothing stopping these women from walking into a courtroom, telling the judge they're bored, and taking 50% of their husband's assets, along with alimony. Even in conservative states, they can get away with that. They can seize your home, they can seize your retirement account. They don't even have to lie about what they're doing. I mean, that's where the law is right now. Among other reasons, this is a major problem because marriage is directly tied to the continued existence of civilization. Plenty of data shows, as you might imagine, that marriage is directly linked to fertility rates.
That is true. Now, this is 100% true, okay? And this is stuff all over the world. It's not just here. Yes, I have been talking. Now they're catching up to where we have been for the last 10 years, okay? Remember, I've been telling you about the mouse utopia and fertility rates and stuff like that all the way around the world. Now they're catching up. Now they're catching up to the red pill. Remember, my job is to keep you from 18 months to 3 years ahead of the curve, okay? And these guys are like 10 years behind the curve. So he's telling you the exact same thing that I've been telling you for the last 10 years. This is why they're starting to panic, okay? Because they can't get these numbers up. That's why they're panicking.
Which seems pretty obvious. If we want to reverse population decline, then encouraging young people to get married is the way to do it. But it can be a tough sell for young men
to help you,
as long as the law remains so archaic and so obviously rigged against them. So why haven't any conservative states abolished no-fault divorce?
Oh,
or at the very least, why haven't more states abolished the idea that women are entitled to 50% of their husband's assets?
Oh, no, you didn't just say that. Oh my God. Okay. No, you didn't just say that. And y'all been in the red pill's ass for the last 20 years, right? And we have been saying that for the last 20 years. Now the conservative cucks are saying the exact same thing. Listen to this, man. Telling you, they don't have much. They don't have many choices right now, especially with the economy and the fertility rates, stuff like that. They need these dudes, white and black, to come save these broads, okay? Because the white men are telling white women to kick rocks. So it ain't just the black manosphere that's doing it. It's all over, right? It's global. Because in China and Korea and Japan, they're telling their women to kick rocks.
Even if they've been cheating on him the entire time. As far as I can tell, in the vast majority of states, whether they're community property states or not, a woman can cheat on her husband and still receive half his assets.
Yeah.
There are exceptions, including Texas, but this is the norm, and that needs to change. In most cases, women should get $0 if they initiate a divorce. In most cases, they should get nothing.
Ooh.
In fact, in many cases, they should be fined for wasting the man's time.
Oh, no. Now, this is a conservative. Oh, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey. I'm having a heart attack right now. This is the big one.
That's not a punitive solution. It's one we obviously need because the current system is pathological in how it destroys the lives of innocent young men. In fact, we should really be discussing criminal penalties for adultery.
Oh,
there'd be nothing unusual historically about.
That's always what they want to do. It's government overreach. I don't think cheating should be illegal. Like it should, and it's completely impractical. How would you enforce cheating? Like, what is cheating? Look, if anyone wants to leave, I know I used to say that divorce should be illegal, but I disagree. If someone, maybe the barrier of entry should be higher, but if someone wants to leave, just let them go.
She should leave with nothing. Okay. If you want to leave, just like the old patriarchal marriage, you want to leave with nothing.
dispensing prison time or fines or even corporal punishment for adulterers. I mean, what's unusual is having no such penalties in place at all. We are one of the few societies in history to not treat adultery as a criminal matter. And I see no evidence that our approach is in any way superior or brings about better results at all. It's tempting to think that reversing this entire system is impossible, but it's not. And more to the point, there's reason to believe that in general, conservative women in general are much less of a danger on this front. Take a look at this data from the U.S. General Social Survey, which was republished by the Substack Age of Infowars. It shows that the average number of children that are being born to left-wing families in the United States is declining significantly, and significantly more rapidly than the number of children who are being born to conservative families.
Okay, what they'll do is they'll say it's rising. Here, let me see. So it goes from 1.8 to 2.6 in the matter of 15 years. Like, if you have a woman, she's going to be liberal anyway. So it doesn't even really matter. Like, if you see the data on the children, like the women are bound to be liberal anyway. And then who really cares? It's like what, from 1.8 to 2.6. So 1 kid to 2. Okay.
In other words, left-wing birth rates are falling far faster than conservative birth rates. Conservatives are.
Yeah, they just want to gaslight you. Usually these have small sample stuff. Like, there's usually a catch. I don't know what this one is. I'd have to look into it. But usually if the data doesn't really...
If it doesn't jive with reality, then you have to look into the devil's in the detail. Minnesota jamming disposal fee. Thanks for keeping us ahead of the curve. Conservatives will not drop the hammer on double X's when they're out of pocket. Not now. They will. They will start, is because it's going to threaten their. It's going to threaten their lifestyle. It's going to threaten their society. So they will. Oh, they will. If they need to drop the hammer, they'll drop the hammer. These conservatives are in the same bracket of pathetic as police officers and army and total white knights. Cops are less white knightish as than you think they are.
There's usually a catch to it.
Presumably involved in more stable and fulfilling marriages, the kind that aren't ended early due to an affair or a deceptive spouse or anything like that. So when you hear about falling birth rates and the collapse of civilization, you should know that the people who want to destroy civilization are going to destroy themselves first. And while that's not
right, but if you have kids, you can't. Like, I just saw an article on Twitter that said, like, look at this. They did an article on Nick Fuentes' sister, which is kind of fucked up.
Why not? Why?
But regardless, he has a liberal sister, I guess. Okay. So you could literally have a kid that's Nick Fuentes.
Yes.
And your daughter will still be liberal. Like, it's incredible.
Not necessarily an ideal state of affairs. It's, better than the alternative. And when you zoom out even wider, there's some other interesting data.
Like, okay, the white non-Hispanic went up 0.45%. Like, do you see this? Okay, that doesn't really change the overall trends. And what they'll do is they'll say the number, which will sound really big when they say it, even though it's like a small percentage. So
the latest statistics on birth rates, according to preliminary 2025 birth rate data compiled by the CDC, which looks at the mother's ethnicity, white non-Hispanic birth rates have actually increased.
This is selling you guys hope. The trends are going how they're going, and they want to sell you hope.
For the past year, and now account for more than 50% of all known births. Meanwhile, births from virtually every other race and ethnicity have declined sharply, which is a big change from recent years. And that includes Hispanic births, Asian births, Black births, Pacific Islander births. The implication of this data is that foreigners aren't replacing the Native American population to nearly the extent that they were under the Biden administration. Closing the border and deporting illegal aliens has had a direct effect. It's reversed the demographic change that Democrats have been trying to engineer. Imagine what these numbers would look like if conservative states decided to actually do something to encourage even more marriages. That doesn't mean providing more welfare or handouts. There's plenty of evidence that, from the Nordic countries, which have a lower fertility rate than we do, that more welfare doesn't produce more children. And more welfare definitely isn't guaranteed to provide more stable family units, as the civil rights era demonstrated in this country. What's needed is a rethinking of divorce law and the contracts that young men are being asked to enter into. And now, with all that said, how could I, after acknowledging these serious pitfalls, still promote marriage and family life?
Here it comes.
Okay.
What's the upside?
What's the upside?
Went through all the downsides. Pretty grim.
Here it comes.
How could it possibly be worth it, given all of that? That's the question, and it's a fair one. I saw a recent clip of Andrew Tate posing this exact conundrum, as he has many
They want men cocked.
times. Here's just the latest example. Watch.
How big of an idiot is a guy that doesn't get a prenup?
How big of an idiot is a guy who gets married?
Oh, my girl is over there, my boy.
Yeah.
Waiting on that.
Well, I'm sorry, but
So are you suggesting that marriage is out of the picture?
what do you gain? Non-emotional, like there's men who get married and they go, it's important because I love her. If you want to make emotional decisions, if you want to enter the world of emotional decisions with women, if you want to roll in the mud with a pig and lose, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But as a man, it's your job to be logical. And I'm sitting here saying, I'm not anti-marriage. Just show me what I get.
Yeah.
You're asking me to agree to give away half my stuff if I argue with anyone at any point in the future forever.
Right.
You agree, I'm sitting here, I'm going to pay a whole bunch of money so her uncle can eat a lobster dinner. And I'm going to be publicly humiliated over the internet.
Yeah, it usually just shows a lack of choice for men that want to get married, because if you had a ton of choice, you really wouldn't be incentivized to do it. Like, you want to, like, why would you want to give a woman leverage? If you had 3 hot chicks you were banging.
When her ex-boyfriend, who's silly, laughs that I'm walking her down the aisle in her white dress. Okay, cool.
Shit.
So what do I get? And the answer is, well, you get a white.
Yeah, that's why. That's like, why do you think Tate doesn't want to?
Yeah.
He's got 3 hot chicks.
I already have a wife.
Yeah.
I already have her.
You get a couple of years of happiness.
Yeah, but okay, do words matter or actions? If you act like you're married, what's the difference?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You need title.
A risk of divorce, risk of losing your money, and maybe some kids.
Yeah, well, I got kids anyway.
So it's
Yeah.
it's a fair logical question. But
Once you have kids, really, you know, I was telling somebody else that the other last week. Okay, marriage doesn't hold that much weight for me, is because I got grown kids and grandkids. Why should I get married? I don't need a family. Okay, you know, because I already have one. I don't need to make another family.
the premise behind it is not fair. You know, I've already acknowledged that those of us on the pro-marriage side can sometimes be too quick to discount the possibility that a young man gets married and winds up humiliated, betrayed, and broke because of it. You know, we sometimes talk about marriage as though the divorce rate were 0%. On the other side, though, people like Tate talk about marriage as though the divorce rate were 100%, as if no couple in history has ever managed to stay faithful and monogamous till death do they part. He treats the potential downsides of marriage as guaranteed and the upsides as if they don't exist at all, but they do. And in fact, on second thought, the question, what will I get out of it, or what do I get out of it, is not entirely fair.
Why?
Now, I can't say
Why is it not fair? It's not entirely fair. Why?
what you will get out of marriage,
Oh my God.
because I can't look into your future. I can't control for every possible factor. I can't force you to choose the right spouse, nor can I force you or your
Bullshit. Come on, man. Sound like a woman right now.
spouse to do all the things in a marriage that are necessary to keep.
And this is the ego. He thinks he is so sure that his marriage is going to work out, but you're only in your 30s, maybe early 40s. We don't know what the future's like for you, but they think they know everything. They have these huge egos, all of them, commentators.
It's stable and
Like, we're the worst breeds of human.
happy. Most of the time when a marriage falls apart, it can be that there's one clear bad guy who did something destructive and was betrayed the marriage. That can happen. Usually when a marriage falls apart, it's because you've got two people and neither of them were doing the things necessary to keep it together. And so I can't control for that. But I can say
They always find a way to blame the man.
Yeah, that's true.
Even like in this,
They always find a way to blame the man. Yeah. So it's always, it's either a me problem or it's a we problem.
they're talking about how he should have just known that she was going to fuck him. It's like, how would he know that she was fucking her boss?
That's
You know what I
true.
mean? Like, you wouldn't really think that. Are you fucking Brett Cooper? No. Right? So he's not going to assume they're banging.
what you can get out of marriage and what a great many men, billions throughout history, including myself, 15 years in with 6 kids, have gotten out of
See,
it.
again, ego. Look at me. Look at what I did. It worked for me. Your wife was old and you got him through IVF. Can we just be real here? 2 twins in her 30s. Do you think I'm stupid? It's LARPing. LARPing.
So what you can get is the love, fidelity, and lifelong companionship of a woman who you love and who is devoted to you
You can get that without marriage.
and to whom you are devoted in return. What you can get, what billions of men have gotten,
And by the way, men aren't getting that. That's not true. Men are not getting devoted wives.
are children you love and who love you.
You can have kids outside of marriage.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's true.
The only thing you get in marriage is you get less leverage.
You get a contract from the state.
Carry on your legacy, your bloodline, and your family name. You can have a family that is stable and whole, one that gives you a sure sense of purpose every single day of your life, a family you live with.
There it is, sense of purpose. They say the same thing in the Black community, right? A sense of purpose, okay? A sense of doing the right thing, right?
And share your life with, and serve, and lead, and raise. Okay, so you can get love, meaning, purpose, and legacy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you can get.
He sounds just like the black guys. He sounds just like the pro-blacks, okay? The exact same thing, all those intangibles, okay? But she wants tangibles, okay? You can't go to her with the same thing, okay? With intangible shit, she's not going to take you. Well, you're supposed to walk in, roll the dice on intangibles.
It's not an emotional argument because those are not emotions. Those are real things. Those are nothing less than the greatest things life has to offer. So what can you get out of it? I don't know. The greatest things in life is what you can get.
A maze fuming in the clouds. Probably so.
You can get that without marriage.
Yeah.
Stupid argument.
There's nothing greater. Nothing that can bring you more joy or make your life more worth living. So what you get or can get in a word is basically everything. But it should also be said that as men, our concern should not be only what we get. What do I get is a fair question. And if the answer were nothing, then you shouldn't do it. But it's a fair question. It should not be the only question. You know, Tate says he has kids anyway, so he doesn't need marriage. But okay, well, what would his kids get out of him being married to their mother?
Nothing. The kids wouldn't even know. You can get a ring. You don't have to get married with the state.
Well, they would get a stable household with a father who's present every day, leading, guiding, and teaching them.
You can get that without marriage.
Now, it's true that you can have kids without getting married. Plenty of people have done that. But
or not have them at all.
All of the studies, all of the research, all of our experience as human beings show us that children are in a far better position with far better outcomes when their father is married to their mother and present in the home, providing not just financial support, but a daily example of how to live. I mean,
right. But
in other words, you make better citizens for the state, okay? But the state is not helping you do that. They expect you to fall on that sword for nothing. At least in the military, you get 3 hots and a cot, okay?
You don't know what the data is going to say in 20 years. We have no idea. Like, the data just came out that men that wait till their 30s to get married, have longer marriages. So you can't really predict how the data is going to compare with people that just were in long-term relationships.
All of the evidence.
I would rather never get a ring
Yeah.
with a guy that's not a simp than have to marry a simp. That would be like.
So if you marry the guy, is he a simp?
That's the way women view that, is like hell on earth, but we don't know it. It's subconscious. I know it, but it
shows this. That's what your kids get. Well, what do they get out of you sleeping with other women and refusing to be a stable presence in the home? What possible benefit?
Why does he act like that's the only other alternative? There's so many men in the red pill that have been married for years.
Yes.
Sometimes the wives bring in the other women.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it makes their marriage better. He said that husbands serve their wives. He thinks being of service to her is some sort of advantage. Yeah, I know.
Does that bring to them? What do they?
Now he's guilt tripping men about what they do with their dick. Isn't that kind of gay?
If you want to live a meaningful life as a man, if you want to be a great
marriage benefits women and children.
Yeah, Matt Walsh's mind is stuck in the 50s. He's a punk. No, he's I'm not gonna call him a liar, but you think he's selling. Okay, he's selling conservatism. He just told you why the shit doesn't work and why you shouldn't do it until that shit changes.
And it's your burden of performance as a woman to convince the guy to get married.
Yeah.
And if the guy has the mindset of he's looking for marriage, usually it's a lack of choice.
Yes.
Just generally speaking. Because if he was successful, women would be trying to lock him down for marriage. Like if he was sexually successful. Most men aren't. Like, that's kind of the default. That's why more men want to get married than women, is because most men are operating out of scarcity. Like, I would say like half of men aren't going to reproduce.
You need to be motivated by more than just a quest for what you get. There has to also be a sense of obligation and duty.
Yeah, now it's guilt. But again, they want you to sacrifice your life for their children. Because if he gets divorced, he'll have money to fight it. You won't.
Yes.
That's what's driven every great man in history. You know, Tate talks a lot about escaping the matrix. But the question, what do I get? all by itself will not lead you out of the matrix, but deeper into it. I mean, in many ways, what do I get? The single-minded quest for pleasure and personal gain is the matrix.
No,
so the
it's
matrix
not.
is.
No,
If you want,
no, it's not. No, it's not. Sacrificing yourself for the greater good is the matrix. Okay. No, it's not. Now he's trying to reroute the argument.
want out of it, you need to ask not just what you get, but also what are your duties? What are your obligations?
Yeah, now,
Then now
but
we're
what are
getting to
women's duties and
yeah,
obligations?
Yeah.
They don't have any. And until women have them, then the chessboard isn't fair.
What's your purpose?
Yeah.
What should you do?
Oh my God. Should is the dumbest question ever.
See, the black men, the black men adjacent to the red pill space that are pro-black were saying the exact same thing. Okay, the exact same thing. Okay, they're trying to bring you back to the plantation, and the verbiage and the arguments are all the same. So if you think it's just a black thing, it's just a black man and woman thing, this tells you that it's not. Survey says bullshit. All right. Okay. I think that's enough. Okay. That's enough for today. I punched the clock. If actually want to go over and watch the rest of it, you're welcome. But he's just going to repeat himself. Okay. Yep. They ain't got nowhere else to go. Exactly. Yep. At this point, with the economy going down and they have to save all these chicks and they ain't got no money, guess what? Yep. They're all the white women and black women saying the same thing, right?
I got nowhere else to go. I got nowhere else to go.
And I got one answer for that.
And all I have to say is, drizzle, drizzle.
Okay. So all I got to say for this whole thing, all I have to say is, drizzle, drizzle. To think that this whole mess stems from the fact that white men wanted the state to deny the black men autonomy and control over so no, that's not it. Okay. There's two things. If you go back and watch my series Feminize America, I actually explained to it. It wasn't just black men, it was also white boomers. Okay. The boomers were there to actually change society and they didn't want to change. So they handed over control of society to women. The no-fault divorce, all that other kind of the Title IX, all that kind of abortion, all that kind of crap was actually handed over by the state, by the World War II generation to control the boomers, white and black. And the reason that black and white women ganged up on black men is because white women did not want black men to have rights that they didn't have. So it's not about them being, they don't give a shit about your family for the most part. We think that they're trying to break up the black family. They don't give a shit about the black family. Okay? They really don't care. Now, controlling black men, yes. Okay? But it was white females and black females do not want black men to have something that they don't have. That's why they ganged up on us. And that would actually ripple down to white men. Rest in peace to my father. He used to say, it's not about what should happen, it's about what could happen. Don't forget that as a man. Thank God I'm a man. Most modern women will never understand that. Well, they understand, they don't care. They didn't want men to overthrow the government because the biggest change in history for this government was the boomers. Yeah. In fact, you go back and look at the history. It's very obvious why they did what they did. Well, you can fuck white men; it doesn't matter. But the thing is, at the end of the day, boss, you're at the bottom of the boat, and you're not steering the boat. So saying fuck white men is not going to help you. I don't give a shit about white men. They got their own problems right now. I'm talking about the overall society and what's going to happen to you in this overall society, okay? And what they're trying to do in this overall society, and where you as a black man can take advantage of their weak spots. So it's not about them. Y'all keep wondering about is the white man gonna get over or not get over? Fuck all that. Okay. The thing is, how can you take advantage of the situation? Y'all got to get out of that. So they some black men out for the immigrants. There's always going to be a small amount of black people out out there and protesting for the immigrants. There's always going to be a small percentage, but most of the black people in the United States do not care. Okay, it's not their fight. They don't hate them, but but not out to help them either. Be just overtime tax, still meat is left on the bone. Pause. Now, I mean, really, I just want to give you guys a glimpse, okay, about Matt Walsh and what he's saying, and a lot of stuff that he's saying is the same shit that the black um, pro-blacks are saying, okay, to us, to people in the manosphere, okay. They can't beat the manosphere because they try to beat us down, they try to shame us, they try to uh, run us into the ground, and guess what? Now they have to work with us. Now they're going to have to, they're at the table saying, what do you want? Because we got to say to society. So we have to do it together. So what do you want? Because we can't beat you. And then bringing Andrew Tate back into the mix, basically is them throwing in the towel. Okay, we can't beat you, so we have to work with you now. One competitor paying lower pay while the other competitor raising the cost of goods. Yeah, well, that's not sustainable. Yeah, Batman said, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you either. Yep, that's what's happening. Mookie, what's up? He said, we put the WAF Museum in Colombia with photos of Western women homeless in the winter, and then remind everyone this is the price of the gynocracy. Yes, yes, eventually it is. I was telling one lady in the comment section, okay, gynocracies and matriarchies died not because they're overthrown, it's because the men leave. When the men leave the matriarchy, okay, the matriarchy dies. And that's what's happening right now to America, right? This quasi matriarchy that they formed for the last 100 years is dying. Margaret Sanger definitely seemed to care enough to plan the sterilization of black families, our birth rates. So, okay, comfort. Have you read about Margaret Sanger in Harlem? Black women asked for abortions. Black women asked for abortions. That's stuff they won't tell you. She didn't come there and force that on black women. It's voluntary. She asked for abortions. I mean, they asked for abortions, okay? They were tired of having all these kids. That's how come black women get the most abortions of all the groups, is because they want them. Stop blaming Margaret Sanger. Why do you think she started in Harlem instead of, you know, Washington D.C. or Minnesota or someplace like that, right? She started in Harlem. It's because black women asked for it. You guys need to read before you open your mouth, okay? Don't believe what people tell you about Margaret Sanger. Go read her history, okay? And guess who else pushed abortion? It wasn't white. It wasn't the white people pushing abortion, because white people are against abortions and sterilization. Okay, guess who was for it? Black women, white so-called Fabian liberals, and black preachers. They all pushed that stuff. Okay, Margaret Sanger went to the black church to push abortions. It wasn't the general white folks. Okay, why? Because white folks needed you to fucking work. I remember, this is Jim Crow. They needed as many black people on that farm to work as possible. They weren't trying to get rid of hands. They weren't trying to get rid of you because they still need you to work. Now, after 1963, that's a different story, right? But the thing is, when Margaret Sanger first started, they need as many hands on that farm as possible. Okay. Yeah, the Fabian. Now the Fabian Society, they wanted to. They're the one came up with useless eaters. Okay, where you think? I'm not gonna talk about the mustache man. Okay, where you think he got it from? Anyhow, let me get out of here, y'all. Yeah, I need to read more before you guys start yakking. Okay. I'm going to give you the African, and I'm out of here. I have punched my clock. Okay. And I'm just warning you guys. This is what the Tradcons and the lefties and the Tradcons are trying to do the exact same thing. Okay, but now they're willing to work with you instead of against you. So, a mission accomplished.
And with that, I just have two more words to say. Obama out.
Музыка Денис Шитер.